Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you guys are having a great start to your Thursday, a great morning out there, and a great week so far. As we're working our way through it, almost to the weekend, got you an update on what's going to happen weather-wise for today. Severe weather is going to be an issue. Heat is going to be a big issue. In fact, excessive heat warnings out for areas that don't normally see it. We're going to talk a little bit about that and talk about who could potentially see some severe storms today, as it seems like this has been an occurring pattern over the last few days. It's been a pretty active week in regards to severe weather for July standards. So we're going to break that down for you guys. I want to mention beforehand, my throat is very sore this morning. I don't feel necessarily sick. I just have a really scratchy throat. So if my delivery is kind of wacky, I do apologize ahead of time. Also, if you guys haven't subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If you guys got anything I can pray over or pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. So if you look at water vapor loop of what's going on right now, you got some storms ongoing in areas of Iowa, northern Missouri, Nebraska. Elsewhere, it's pretty calm. The atmosphere will destabilize throughout the day in this part of the country, and then you'll get another round of severe storms in Montana. And everywhere in between, you could see severe storms today. So this is going to be the two highlight areas right here and right here. But like I said, everywhere in between could see severe storms too, as a flow kind of rotates around this ridge of high pressure in the southern sections of the country. The Storm Prediction Center on what is going on, a slight risk up for this portion of the country includes areas like Southern Virginia, a large portion of north of the Carolinas in general, Atlanta, Chattanooga, it includes Nashville, and the entire central and eastern areas of Tennessee. Then you got the slight risk up in Montana, where you'll have more of a discrete mode, meaning these storms could produce more larger hail. And then an isolated tornado threat up here in Montana. As you can tell here, there's a very small tornado threat also. This includes Kansas City. The wind threat, 15% risk to see around 55, 60 mile per hour winds, 25 miles in any given location in these two yellow areas right here. So that'll be the biggest threat with these storms today, mainly speaking for the southeast and mid-Atlantic. Hail threat will be, more significant up here in Montana. You actually have a hatch region too, which is the black outline region with the dashes going in between it. That is a 10% chance to see 2-inch or diameter larger hail in this region up here. So we need to pay attention to that. Watches and warnings. Everybody in the orange has a heat advisory. The purple is an excessive heat warning, which is an upgrade from a heat advisory. And look at this. You got a rare excessive heat warning up for central South Carolina. That is not common at all. It takes some big heat for them to introduce an excessive heat warning. So that just tells you today is going to be one of the hottest days of the year for certain people out there. So if you work an outside job, you work in a warehouse that's not insulated, no AC, please just take the precautions you need. Sometimes when you're really, really hot, you don't feel thirsty, right? But you still need to hydrate and take breaks as needed. But it's been a relentless summer so far. It really has. So it's going to continue to be so today. Rain today, there will be an issue with flash flooding with, training of storms, meaning these storms are going to continue to go over the same area. So you have a slight risk, and a yellow has at least a 15% chance to see flash flood guidance being met in this region. And it all just depends on how much rain you've gotten lately. The marginal risk of that, which is the green, that is at least a 5% chance. So flooding will be a little bit of an issue today. So pay attention to how much rain you're getting and how fast you're getting it. Storms today, we'll take a look at a more broader look at the southeast first, and then we'll get a little bit closer to some areas here. But today, storms will pop off just after lunchtime. Intense heat will be pumping out in the southeast, but these storms in southern Illinois will continue to work southeast. There'll be a round of storms potentially in eastern Tennessee. Watch out Knoxville, places like that. But then there will be just convection bubbling up in North Carolina, Virginia in general. It's really hard in setups like this to know exactly where it's going to rain. For example, yesterday we had a slight risk here in Columbia. I picked up 0.03 of an inch, not even 1/10 of an inch of rain. And I just didn't get hit. But other people right up the road got almost an inch of rain. So it's just one of those kind of setups. It's driven off a flow around this ridge of high pressure, but at the same time, they're really outflow boundary driven, meaning big storm will pop up, spread out rain-cooled air from it, initiate more storms around it. But those, they could just dance around you. This happens a lot. I see the complaints on Twitter, social media, even on YouTube, how It's raining. This place up the road is raining like crazy, but I've not got rain in 2 weeks, and I believe you. I do. I feel your complaints because it seemed like it did that here in my neck of the woods for about 3 years. And then the last 3 years since then, we've actually gotten some good rains. But a little bit closer look. Here's a closer look at Kentucky, Tennessee, areas of the northern deep south. And here we go. We're getting into, I would say, around 3 or 4 p.m., isolated storms popping up. And this is just the HRRR model. It might be off. This might be more widespread. And I tell you, the short-range models do awful in this kind of pattern. They did awful yesterday. They did awful the day before. They all did awful the day before that. So the storm coverage, I'm just telling you in general what it could potentially look like, but it can look much different. It really can. Nashville, there could be stronger storms down here. They could. But in just general, the flow is going to be rolling through here. This is also where you have a flood risk. And you're just going to have rounds and showers and storms working through Kentucky, out of Illinois, southern Indiana, and then working into Tennessee as you're getting into the evening hours. So Nashville, Knoxville, down to Asheville, North Carolina, Bristol, Tennessee, Jackson, Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky. You guys could see some severe storms, but how widespread in coverage are they going to be? It's a big question here. The Carolinas, what can you guys look like today? We're rocking and rolling through this, and we're getting into about 3 or 4 p.m. It seems like the initiation point has been the foothills of the southern Appalachian Mountains on the eastern side. It seems like they develop here around Asheville and Greenville, and then they sink southeast. But you're going to have pop-up storms even below this. Even though you're not really seeing a big widespread coverage, the heat is going to be intense down here near Charlotte, Columbia, Fayetteville, Greenville, North Carolina. Raleigh hit 102 yesterday. It was a record. I think they hit their third highest heat index on record yesterday. It was pretty intense heat up there. But these storms will work their way through, and every single one of these could be strong to severe. It's just going to be that kind of environment today. The atmosphere is going to destabilize a ton of surface cape when you have dew points in the 70s and near 80s. So there's a lot of rocket fuel, if you will, to the atmosphere for any storm to take advantage of. So if you get a severe thunderstorm warning for your area, you should definitely take it serious. I mean, because damaging winds, you can have microbursts in these kind of situations, and things can go downhill very quickly. So pay attention to the weather today. It's always great to have a reliable radar app, guys. It really is. But this is actual air temperatures today. Temperatures in the 90s in the Carolinas, but the heat index is going to be insane. But look at these temperatures here in southern Missouri, Arkansas, 104, 105. The temperatures are going to be brutal, but look at the heat index. The heat index is going to be over 110 in the areas of the Carolinas. That's why you got the excessive heat warnings in central South Carolina. They're expecting the heat index to be over 110 for a long period of time, 111, 112 probably, but heat index is also brutal for all of these states right here, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, well over 105, 110 degrees. So brutal conditions expected. The Northeast, the only active people down here is in northern VA, that's the Mid-Atlantic, the Delmarva area, Washington, D.C. Watch out. You guys could see a storm or two a little bit later this afternoon, but there's a sharp boundary of where there's a chance of storms and when there's absolutely no chance of storms, and that sets up around this area, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Maryland. So the rest of the Northeast, maybe an isolated pop-up shower or two near New Jersey, eastern PA. But other than that, very quiet weather today. Temperatures will be phenomenal, especially the further northeast you go. Only temperatures in the 80s and 70s with probably lower humidity. But once you get into PA, New Jersey, points south and southwest, it warms up into the Ohio Valley, Ohio. Temperatures into the 80s. Sorry, my nose is itching big time, guys. That's why I keep rubbing it. But the south central U.S., a cluster of storms working through this morning in Missouri. This will move into Illinois into the late morning hours, early afternoon hours, and then we'll have to watch to see how this area of storms that starts off right now in northern Missouri, how it behaves as it gets in southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and then western Kentucky. Will it continue to hold together? Will another piece of energy fire up? It's a big question. And then some more storms might fire up in central Missouri, southern Missouri a little bit later today. These will have a chance to be strong and severe, but where they pop up is a big question. It really is. And then maybe some isolated showers in the panhandle of Texas. Temperatures absolutely brutal in the south central U.S. I mean, Oklahoma City well over 100, Dallas over 100, Little Rock over 100 today. And, you guys have been seeing this the last several days, the last several weeks. It's not going to change. Absolutely brutal heat today for this part of the country. The dew point's not quite as bad as maybe they are in the southeast right now, but the actual air temperatures where you just have a ton of sinking air with a ridge of high pressure is right over this area. I mean, it is going to just be very hot, very uncomfortable. North central U.S., like I said, there's that complex of storms this morning, but more storms can fire up anywhere in Nebraska, especially central to eastern Nebraska. And then they will fire up even more as we get into about the 3, 4, 5 o'clock range. But it's going to be hard to predict exactly where these fire up. But, you know, if you're in the Dakotas, central to eastern Dakotas, central and eastern Nebraska, even getting into areas in Minnesota, these storms will develop, then move east and move deeper into Minnesota, Iowa, into the late night hours, and will produce that damaging wind threat that is certainly possible, and some large hail will certainly be possible too. So be careful with this. Temperatures, you know, warming up pretty good up here in Wisconsin. Nice day in northern Michigan. Very warm temperatures in Minnesota, getting into the 80s. A little bit of a boundary for North Dakota and South Dakota, where South Dakota will be much warmer than North Dakota. North Dakota is stuck in the 70s and 60s. But everywhere else, maybe some rain-cooled air that might influence the temperatures. But in general, 70s and 80s, maybe some 90s. But then there's going to be a boundary where you get under that ridge. Once you get into Kansas and Missouri, and it'll be very, very hot. And, you know, my folks out into the western U.S., you know, I'll throw you guys a bone. I know I haven't talked about you much. Pretty quiet day. The only areas is right in the stripe right here where you got the monsoon lift going on. And some rains are certainly possible. In Nebraska, another round of storms. Montana, another round of showers and storms a day where you guys are under that slight risk. So kind of a flow like the last few days. But that's all I got, guys. Thank you all. Sorry I had to speed through that. I'm running late for work. And my girls have interrupted the video quite a bit of times. So I've had to delay the start a few times. But anyways, y'all have a great day. God bless all y'all. And have a great Thursday.